Hey guys, we are live now. So this will be a very quick live. I'll show you like what I've built a couple of weeks. So I have been trying to get some hands-on on Jenkins using CI/CD and trying to do stuff. So have a couple of things that I have learned. So I thought I would like to share those are things that I have learned. So here we go. Uh, so hope you can see the build page. So this is a very simple application that we have with us. So it doesn't really do anything. That you see the actual code. It just gives you, you know, uh, the status of two numbers. You actually does basically only these operations, nothing much. So you give it two numbers and you give it the operation, what has to be performed on those two, and you will be getting the result back, the status code actually. So, so this is what I have used over here. You could see uh, this is the entire code is deployed. So when you move to the clear branch, you could see there is a test folder that I use. So what CI/CD is actually like the entire complete flow is from where you start. So basically you have to deploy something for just for quick demo. I'm just demonstrating to you guys with just a single file, but basically deployment with CI/CD you could deploy, maybe Django. If you want to deploy Flash, you can do that. Or if you want to go with the node world, you can go with React, you can deploy Angular JS, and whole lot of stuff you can do. But for a simple demo purpose and for a simple Python script, I think this is the base for what you're trying to accomplish now. So what we are trying to fulfill is that you have a snippet, you have a code, you have a piece of code, you have a test case for that. So once someone pushes the code to QA branch, so what happens is that the build starts. So the build actually triggers when you push something to the QA branch or something is merged to QA branch. Okay, so that is basically what happens. And so when the build starts, so you will basically have three stages for at most of the pipelines. So what is the build stage and testing and then deploy. So you can add whatever stages you want. You can add steps in between. So I'll just show you the Jenkins file which kind of has all those steps, so which might be easy for you to grasp it a little. So this is what we call as a Jenkins file, a pipeline syntax. Maybe if you search for Jenkins syntax, this is the first one that will pop up. So basically, as I told you, build, test, and deploy. So these are the three main or the most frequently used. Based on your requirements, things might change based on what you're trying to accomplish with the deployment, the actual deployment itself. So I haven't done anything much on this part. We don't have anything to build like a maybe React app which you have to build a prod ready index.html you have to generate, or index.js you have to generate. There is no such thing in Python, so I skipped that part. And this is the test part. So you just run this test node snippet, which will actually call the snippet.py and do some testing with the single function that we have. And this is something interesting. So once the testing is done, so you know that the test has failed or not. Okay, so this has to be another step, or you have to have another stage maybe. So once the test is passed, maybe let's say the test, all the test what you have written is passed, and you want to deploy. So you just need a manual intervention, like I use a particular user, or maybe your senior manager or a manager has to approve this. So this build, or someone from your team lead or someone senior to you has to approve this build or the code that whatever you have written. So you have to have a manual intervention to just deploy. Okay, so someone has to go there. So build will be passed till then someone approves. So build will be stopped. So you have to definitely you know take that up, and then someone has to approve it so that the build passes to the next stage. So this is deploying. We actually don't deploy anything since we already pulled the code out of Bitbucket, so we don't do that part as well. So this part is pretty much interesting. So the post is where you put all your after the entire thing is complete, you need to clean up things. Maybe there might be files which have been created, that you might have deleted, and those things. So what I have done is, so once the build is complete for all the three stages, you need to gather the results of it. So this script will generate an XML file. I'm not sure why people use XML. I think due to the Java compatibility, maybe. But anyway, so that is we use, and even in Python, I never used XML with Python. So this generates a XML file which outputs the test results. So you might have 3 or 4 tests, and it will state whichever has ran or whichever has failed, on what occasion it has failed and what is there. And this is the test results directory that it will look for. All your test results must be put into test report so that you get all your test results. And this is so if once this test is passed, right? So success, when the build is successful, you run this snippet.py with these arguments. So this is like a command line arguments. You just pass 189 and you do the add operation. You might get 200 response. So it is like the positive thing. So both the numbers are present. So first number and second number. And on failure, this is some message you can keep it yourself. You could eventually do that as well. So this is the actual code and the file which is used. So I'll just show you the actual build and how things start. Let's go to QA. I didn't show you the test now. So this is basic stuff. Whatever unit testing that you would do, just pass these two values and see if 200 you get, or 302, or whatever responses you get. And this part is important. So this XML runner, you can pip install it. This will generate XML file which has the test results, and it will also display things on your Jenkins run itself, and you will see the historic runs, and whatever the test has passed or failed, you will get those status as well. So let me quickly, I think the Docker container is still running. So let me see. Okay, I think Docker container is still running. So you might. So this part is actually by. This is not the actual Jenkins. So this one is the familiar UI you might have seen. So this is something called as Blue Ocean UI that they have. But I like this one though. But this is very simplified form of the actual Jenkins UI itself. So it is pretty simplified, and it is mostly the same. Most of the functionality is the same, but you can actually see in a good visualization way that how the build is going and how it is starting. So this is how you will the actual build will start. So the build phase, the test phase. So this is really nice when you use Blue Ocean. If you see the same in the normal thing, right? So this is like the steps that you have. So you have to manually see the logs, and this is really difficult if you want to just see what has been done. So this is a really tough job. So this is pretty much easy, and also this is the approval part that I told you about when we used input. So you will get some input deploy or abort. So you can just approve it or you can reject it. And the third thing is the unit test. So if you go to test, so you could see that you have some outputs over here. So test function name and what are the data that has been passed, and this states what are the status has passed on it. So this is how you will see or you will evaluate things. So you can also see what are the what change made this build. So this is something that is very useful if you want to see like what kind of changes that people have made to trigger this build. So this is the basic thing about blue version. So if you go to this view, you could see the the test historic test that has been run. So you could see that there have been some failed tests, which I'm pretty sure that some cases you might fail. I did this with an intentionally so that you could see like something has failed. I don't want to have everything pass, so I just made it up. So this is how I think this is the build that has failed, I guess. So you could see the logs that's happened. You could see the entire logs here as well. So this is completely running on Docker. I will just post this image on Docker Hub as well if you want to use it. I just still need to do some work around this Docker part, since Python and other things which is essential is when you have the official image, you don't have those. So I'll just make sure that I'll add and I'll build a new image, and which can be shareable and which you can start running. So this is, I think it is still running. If you see, it is running for more than 10 hours now. So I have used Docker Compose for making this container up, since you have to have a volume. Otherwise, if you stop the container, right, you will lose all your data. So I just made the volume to kind of keep track of all the changes that you have to do and all the plugins that you install and the users that you create, and everything will be stored just there. So make sure you put it in a volume place. So I think that's all I want to share in this part. So there is a very good documentation you can go through for pipeline syntax. There's an exhaustive list of things that you can do with Jenkins. It is not just CI/CD. You have to deploy. You can test it in pretty much any way you want. You can get user inputs. So I'll just show you the user input thing. So build with parameters. So this is another build where you, let's say if you have 10 machines and you want to deploy it in like 3 machines, or you just want to deploy in Linux machines alone, you want to deploy it in Windows machines. So you might be wondering like why Mac is here. So AWS has just announced, I think it's been a year now I'm not pretty sure, but the Mac has been announced. You can, if you have the budget, you can go for Mac OS as well on your cloud. AWS cloud is providing that. So once you click on build, so you might start this build. So once you go to Jenkins, and this is the second one. So I just started this build. So this is like the input that user should type in. So let's say I just type my name, and we should continue or we should start the build. And you could ask for different questions like where do you want to deploy? Do you want to deploy the master branch or QA, or whatever things that you want, you can just have it as an options, and you can just deploy. So when you click on proceed, it asks you for the config path, which path to take, and these are some dummy values that I have. So you don't have to do anything. You can click on proceed. So once you do that, you will just complete the build. Whatever the interactions that you had, it would be on your logs. Whoever has made the approval. So this is my username. So this is how you will face things in the if someone is approving this build and you don't know who is that, and it is really difficult to trace back. So this gives you a really cool option, to whomever has approved this part. So we don't have any test for this build actually. So there is no change since we ran it again. So if there is a change and things ran, then you will see some logs in the change. Otherwise, you will just see, if you run manually again, you will just see, the build starting and things. But you should always, manual thing can be done. But so these are the runs that I have for this part. If you see, the same logs would be here, but it is pretty much in a organized and in a good way to visualize things. So it is on the blue ocean. You can also see the entire log as well. So if you want to go to this build, and if you want to see the entire output in a stretch, so this is the entire output in a stretch. You could see what has been done and which part has done what. So you can just view this as well. For any kind of future references, you might definitely use that. So that is it for this video. I think you might have got some idea about what is Jenkins and why we use it and what is the sole purpose of it. If you have any questions, drop it in the comments, and if you want anything more, you need something else to be worked around with Jenkins, so please let me know. I can work on that as well, and I'll make up another video or another live maybe. So thank you guys for joining. See you in the next one.